So you guys know that I read tons of mock drafts. Either it's from ESPN, CBS Sports, Bleacher Report, so many different outlets, but I think I found the worst one so far. And there's so many different reasons why it could be the worst, and it's from Sports Illustrated. I don't know if any other outlet has had a bigger fall off than Sports Illustrated over the years. When I was a kid, this was like the main outlet to go outside of ESPN, and there's just been so many different scandals left and right, and it's a shame because so many great talents have came out of Sports Illustrated. And they did a May 2nd mock draft, so this one is very new. It's right before the lottery, which is going to be next Sunday, which I'm super excited for, so make sure you're subscribed so you guys can get my first official mock draft once we know the order. Sports Illustrated also had a scandal with using AI to generate articles, and who knows, this article could have been generated with AI because there is no explanation for some of these picks. They used Tankathon to develop the draft order, but that's it. I don't get a reason why Alex Sarr would be a good fit in Detroit. I don't get a good reason why Zachary Rissache would go to Washington or Montas Buzelis ending up in Charlotte, because there's arguments for against all of these picks. I mean, Detroit has Jalen Duren at the 5. Would him and Sarr coexist there? Because I think Jalen Duren is the future center along with Cade in Detroit. Zachary Rissache to already a forward-driven team in Washington that desperately needs a 5 or a 1. They already have Denny, they have Bilal, they have Kispert, they have Kuzma. So many forwards on that team. And then Montas Buzelis going 3 to Charlotte, a team that needs floor spacing right now next to Mark Williams and good defense, and Buzelis is not going to be that right away. But then there's pros for some of these picks. Alex Sarr is my number 1 player in this class, and if he develops a shot, could play alongside Jalen Duren. Rissache could be best player available here and still a good floor spacer if they move on from Kyle Kuzma this offseason. And Montas Buzelis could develop some type of game in Charlotte with LaMelo Ball as his lead point guard, much better than what he had going for him in the G League Ignite. So there's pros and cons. I just wish there was articles written about these picks. So I'm fine with Sarr going number 1 to Detroit. I mocked it before. I think like Ron Holland could be a fit at number 1 as well. Rissache 2 to Washington, I'm not really a huge fan of. I would look at Nikola Topic. It's a little bit high for Donovan Clingan here, so if you're going to go forward, I would go Ron Holland. And Charlotte 3, Montas Buzelis, not a fan of this pick. I wouldn't go Topic or Clingan here because they have Mark Williams and LaMelo Ball. Ron Holland can obviously be a fit here. I wouldn't mind Reed Sheppard at 3. He's climbing up my draft board as well. I'm a huge fan of him. And if you like the off-ball playmaking ability, Rob Dillingham could also be in play here, 3 to Charlotte. And then 4 through 8, we have Ron Holland going to Portland. I've mocked that before. I'm pretty cool with that. We have San Antonio getting Nikola Topic at 5. They need a point guard for Wembanyama going forward, and Topic could be that guy. I've mocked that a ton. Stephon Castle to the Raptors at number 6. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of this because they definitely need some floor spacing out there along with Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett and Jakob Poeltl. I don't know if Castle would benefit as a non-shooter in Toronto, but he does have good upside defensively and is an off-ball cutter and slasher in a half-court set as well. So Castle isn't the worst pick in the world at 6, but I'm not a huge fan of it so far. Reed Sheppard going to the Grizzlies at 7. There could be some better options on the board, but I'm a huge fan of Reed Sheppard, and if he ends up in Memphis, I would love that a ton for Reed Sheppard because he goes into a winning environment right away, and that bench only gets stronger right now. But with Donovan Clingan on the board, I would look at him. You have a prime opportunity to move Triple J back to the power forward spot and have Clingan at the 5, have 2 great defenders in your front court and can open up the floor a little bit more. And then Rob Dillingham going to the Jazz at number 8. I mean, they have Keontae George, they have Colin Sexton. I wouldn't mind them grabbing another wing. I really like the idea of Lauri Markkanen at the 3, but maybe let's see him play a little bit more at the 4 and even the 5 next season. But as we looked at the draft board following, I'm okay with Dillingham at number 8. It's not the worst pick in the world. And then we have 9 through 14 here. The Rockets getting Donovan Clingan at 9. I do not think he falls all the way to 9. And if he does, yeah, I would take him if I were Houston. I mean, they have Alperen Şengün as their 5. Steven Adams is the backup. You're going best player available here. It's just a weird fit nonetheless. I really don't think he would make it past Memphis there at number 7. And I think he could even be intriguing to Toronto at number 6, or even as high as 4 to Portland. Now, we have Atlanta taking Cody Williams at number 10. I feel like Cody Williams is just not going to be a top 10 pick anymore. The draft combine came out with their top 10 players. That's a consensus for the GMs going into the combine. Cody Williams was not mentioned in that list, so I don't think he's going to be a top 10 pick in this draft, unfortunately, unless that Rockets pick moves up. But if it does, they're going to be able to keep it, and it's not going to go to OKC because OKC does have the J-Dub connection with that being his older brother. At 11, going Dalton Connect. I mean, if Chicago wants to stay in purgatory, this is the best pick they could possibly make. But no, I think they should take somebody with a little bit more upside going forward. I would not look at Connect there at 11. This is a really weird situation for them because there's some good guards on the board, like Jared McCain, like Isaiah Collier, but they don't need any more guards with Ayo Kobe White, and right now Levine, Caruso, and Carter being on the roster. Rosen is a free agent, so Connect can kind of slide in there. It's just weird drafting a 22-year-old when you should be rebuilding. I mean, you know me, I'd probably take Tyler Smith there if I was the Bulls general manager. OKC going big man at 12. Yves Missi, this is the highest I've seen him go in any mock. He's going 12 to the Thunder. There's definitely some higher upside players that could go around that. I do like Tyler Smith more than Yves Missi. Jacoby Walter, one pick behind him. This is the first time I think I've seen Missi get mocked over his teammate at Baylor, Jacoby Walter, who goes to Sacramento at 13. And I love that for Sacramento. That is a huge pickup for them right now because Malik Monk could leave in free agency. Harrison Barnes is only getting older. I think Walter will not be good right away. He's going to have growing pains, but I think he could be a true legitimate scoring option for you either in your starting lineup or off the bench towards the end of that rookie contract, as long as he has a linear development path and actually invest time and resources and have the patience in his development. I think that would be a phenomenal pick for Sacramento for a team that could most likely lose their first round pick next year from the Kevin Huerter trades pick being protected lottery this year, so they're able to keep their pick. Next year, not as much. Portland at 14, ending up with Kyle Filipowski. I'm starting to not really like Kyle Filipowski in the lottery. I don't know if that shot is really going to translate to the next level watching it more. He's not a good free throw shooter. I think he's a little bit slower than it maybe showed in some of the highlight tapes this year at Duke. So if I were Portland at 14, I would really avoid Kyle Filipowski. I mean, you can go Keyshawn George, you can kind of see there. I like Tyler Smith more than Filipowski. I'm starting to like Kel'el Ware more than Filipowski as well. Hey, I know you have a ton of guards, but take Jared McCain. He could be the best shooter in this class, and at worst, you could trade him. But yeah, I just don't really like Filipowski going there at the end of the lottery. So we have the mid-first round pick. I just love the explanations for all these picks, right? We got nothing. We got nothing. That's why I think it could be AI that just did this article, because how long did this really take? I mean, I could just have made this article in 5 minutes just typing out these names. There's no reasoning for these picks. What's up with that? So we have Miami going Jared McCain at 15. I'm a big fan of that. I mean, they have Devin Carter, Collier, and McCain all on the board. All three of those guys could be potential lottery picks, and they make it outside the lottery. Miami would have the pick of the litter there. They could really go any different option there if they want McCain for shooting, Collier for ball handling ability, and Devin Carter for defense. That is going to be their guard going forward. Who knows, though? There's been apparently rumors that Jimmy Butler could get traded this offseason, which would be kind of crazy. So McCain to Miami, I'm a fan of that. Even though they have Rozier, they have Hero, they probably could add another wing or big. Tyler Smith right there. Isaiah Collier going to 16 to Philadelphia. I don't really like that fit for them. I mean, they have Tyrese Maxey as their lead ball handler. Kyle Lowry could leave in the offseason, and I don't know how much they're going to invest into DeAnthony Melton long term. So I guess he could be your backup point guard, but I'd rather just bring back Campaign and then draft a big there. If you want somebody more NBA ready, take Kel'el Ware. You could even look at Ethan Almonte, which is a little high, but I would maybe go Kevin McCullough as well for a wing who could step in right away and be a bucket, play some defense, and pass the ball. Devin Carter to New Orleans at 17. I love Devin Carter in this draft. I don't know if I really like New Orleans. I don't know if they need another player with this prototype who's better offensively than Jose Alvarado, but I don't think they really need that. And with big men still on the board, I would rather New Orleans go big man there. And if they're actually going to move on from Ingram this offseason, maybe look at a wing, because now Carter's going to try to compete with minutes with Dyson Daniels, and that could stump his growth as well. And he really needs a big development year in New Orleans if he wants to be any justified for being a top 10 pick in that 22 draft. Orlando Magic taking Tijon Salon at 18. I hate this pick a lot. I do not think Tijon Salon could go or should go in the top 20. There's better shooters on the board here. Keyshawn George, even Tyler Smith, the pick after that, I would go if you wanted a big man like Tijon Salon. But I would also look at Johnny Furphy out of Kansas. I would also look at Kevin McCullough out of Kansas as well. Could be a bigger contributor right away in Orlando. And they made the playoffs this year. I'm recording this before Game 7. They want to be in it next year, and I don't think Salon would help them out in the near term. You have Toronto going Tyler Smith at 19. I love this pick. This is actually one of my favorite picks of the mock. Kind of like this more than Stephon Castle with their first rounder, but I'm sure Raptors fans would be huge fans of this draft. And then 20, Cleveland getting Keyshawn George. I'm a big fan of Keyshawn George, and in Cleveland, their team could look completely different next year if they moved on from Jared Allen or Donovan Mitchell, and George could help them. So I'm a fan of that. I think I would go McCullough, though, or Tristan DeSilva if they're trying to be back in the playoffs, and they'll contribute right away, I think, more than Keyshawn George, who I think has a higher ceiling than those two players long term, but not on the first 2 years of that rookie contract. And here for the late first round, we have 9 picks here. I just can't believe there's nothing talking about any of these picks. It's really like somebody in middle school could have made this article just typing out names in the draft order. So Tristan DeSilva going to Milwaukee at 21. I do like this pick though. I think they need an NBA ready wing, and De Silva could be that guy. And a lot of these teams that are trying to win in 2025, like Milwaukee, like Cleveland, Orlando, Philadelphia, Miami, could find the appeal in De Silva's game. You have Zach Edey, 22 to the Phoenix Suns. That's the spot for him. They do need some big man help, so I don't hate this. I've mocked him before. I wouldn't do that if I was James Jones of the Phoenix Suns, but it's looking like they're going to trade that pick anyways. New Orleans with their second first rounder getting De'Ron Holmes. So they get Devin Carter before, they get Holmes there. So I like now the Carter pick a little bit more now that they get De'Ron Holmes in this draft. The Knicks with back-to-back picks getting Ryan Dunn and Johnny Furphy. I like that. They get some defense. They get some shooting there. Defense with Dunn, shooting with Johnny Furphy. I'm okay with that going forward. And I like Furphy to the Knicks because he doesn't need to play next year. He could spend some time in the G League. And then when guys get too expensive and the Knicks need some cheaper rotational guys going forward, Furphy could be NBA ready at that point. Washington at 26 going Kel'el Ware. They need a big man. They get him at 26. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Minnesota getting Kevin McCullough there at 27. That's a great pick. Surprised no Tyler Kolek there at the end of the lottery. Denver going Dylan Jones. Haven't really seen that before. Actually kind of hate that fit. Utah going Jalen Tyson at 29. I'm a fan of that though. They could get another scoring wing and Tyson could be that guy for them. And probably, I think, could be better than Bryce Sensabaugh. And then the Celtics at 30 going Ethan Almanza from the G League Ignite. So he has 4, or whoever wrote this article has 4 G League Ignite guys in the first round. I probably have Tyler Kolek here. I'm just really not a fan of some of it. Like, I don't really love the Dylan Jones pick. Kel'el Ware just seems like a weird fit in Washington. I don't think that's a good environment for him whatsoever. But I think getting Kevin McCullough at 27 for Minnesota is a very solid selection. So here, earlier in the second round, we got Ulrich Shamshi here from the NBA Academy going to Toronto. I guess it has its connections with Masai Ujiri, who's a big advocate for the Africa Academy. So there's probably some connection there. Utah at 32 getting Bobby Klintman. Could also be a fringe first rounder. Kind of similar archetype to Taylor Hendricks. 33 Milwaukee getting Justin Edwards. I don't really like this for them. I mean, it took them, like, they don't really care about developing Marjon Beauchamp. Andre Jackson, a little bit more NBA ready, but didn't do a great job there. I don't think Justin Edwards would do much in Milwaukee. There's some other guys, like even KJ Simpson, who there's a photo of, I would probably rather have here. Or Tyler Kolek, who's still on the board. You have Melvin Ajinka going to Portland at 34. Don't mind that. Terrence Shannon falling all the way to 35 out of the first round. Remember when he had that hype from the March Madness tournament? I think Kevin O'Connor from The Ringer had him in the lottery, but I think a little bit prisoner of the moment there and recency bias. Yeah, I'm just surprised to see KJ Simpson go 37, Tyler Kolek going 38. That is pretty low. I like Hunter Salas going to Memphis at 39. Bub Carrington going to 40. I feel like he can go in the first round. I feel like he can go to Denver at the end of the first. Osei Ugudoro going 42 to Charlotte. Peyton Sanford out of Iowa to Miami. Harrison Ingram to Houston. And AJ Mitchell to Sacramento at 45. Also feel like that's kind of low as well. And then to finish out this, Wooga Popper to the Clippers. Magic forfeits. Philly forfeits. Oh my God, Magic don't even forfeit it. They just don't have a pick in there. Oh my God. This has to be done by AI. I'm so confused about this mock. This is like the worst mock ever that's been put together. I think this holds the crown. I think any of you watching this video right now could have put a better mock together. First of all, if you just put every pick out there, already better than this mock because they didn't have a pick at 47. And then also, if you just wrote is a good player after every pick, you put in more effort for the reasonings. Like, this is a major outlet. It's probably why they fell off, sadly. Then you have Kai Boswell, Adem Bona, PJ Hall in the second round, Pele Larson, Trey Alexander all the way down at 53. Kind of crazy. We'll see if Broom wants to go back to Auburn. He's still kind of debating that right now. Caravan, same thing at UConn. Tying Grant Foster from Grand Canyon. I kind of like that going in the lottery. Didet is way too low. He will be potentially a first round pick and definitely first half of the second round guy. And Cam Christie going 60 to Dallas. Yeah, that was probably the worst mock draft. So yeah, that was probably one of the worst mock drafts that I went through. I want to get more video mock drafts as well. So if you guys know any YouTube videos out there of good mocks to react to, please let me know in the comments. I will leave a link to the article in the description as well. And then yes, we do have the draft lottery, not this Sunday, but next Sunday. So make sure you subscribe so you can get first look at my official mock draft. And then obviously as the combine goes along that following week, we will be changing up the mock leading up to the draft. I'm super excited for it. You guys know that I love the draft, so I can't wait. Thank you all for watching. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.